This week I present you with the town of Wałbrzych. So this is a maybe less visited place in the southwest of Poland. Well, I say less visited, it depends on your point of view. It's a very nice city. It has somewhat questioned origins, mainly between Poles and Germans. It's quite famous for pottery, mining, and Schloss Castle. So in this video I'm going to show you what there is to see in the city and give you a bit of historical context. I stayed here for 4 nights. 3 of the days I spent exploring. The other 2 days I went for adventures in the region because there was a lot to see around here. A lot of people said, why did I come here? Well, you're going to find out. After my time spent here, I really enjoyed the place, and I'm sure you will too. So please stay tuned. Dzień dobry, and welcome to A Brit in Poland. This channel is going to bring you everything you need to know about Poland. I am exploring the country, bringing you the history, trying to tell you about the culture, and show you what it is really like to live here. So feel free to check out my other media, Instagram, Facebook, and I will share links to those in the comments. I also have a website, www.britlivinginpoland.com, where I collate my videos for easy to view manner. Also, you are welcome to contribute to my efforts through Patronite or Patreon, and all descriptions are available below the video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please come back for more by subscribing, liking, or commenting. Thank you very much. Do zobaczenia. So Wałbrzych is roughly 100,000 people in terms of population and is down in Poland's Lower Silesia region, or its bottom left-hand corner. It's pretty easy to get to from Warsaw. There's a direct train. And before I go into it, I wanted to just highlight where I stayed. The Noclegi na Słowackiego 6. And this was just like a little hostel that was considerably cheaper than a number of the hotels in the area. And I think for an extra 20 or 30 zloty, I was able to get a room to myself. So the first area you will probably get to is the Magistrate Square, with the impressive town hall dating from 1855 to 1856, designed by the royal architect Hermann Friedrich Wassermann. And Wałbrzych itself, the history dates back to the Middle Ages, and there was like a Slavic forest settlement there, mainly cutting down trees and dealing with agriculture. And it later became a bit of a defensive stronghold, as is evidenced by Schloss Castle. And the city rights would come around 1400, though the first written mention of the city comes in 1426. So next we're going to the Market Square, and this is basically a collection of beautifully restored Baroque and Classicist tenement houses from the 18th and 19th centuries. The oldest one of them is number 3. It's a very calm place. This is the Tourist Information Office and also a library, which was sadly closed during my time there, so I couldn't get all my relevant materials that I would normally grab. But luckily at the hostel they were able to give me a map with the key places. So we're going to go to the main church, which is the Collegiate Church of the Holy Guardian Angels, another impressive name, built in 1899 to 1904 on the site of the 15th century Church of St. Michael. It was designed by Ząbkowice Śląskie, who was a famous architect of the time. And it's one of the most characteristic points on the horizon of Wałbrzych. The remains of the earlier church are the baptismal font and the pulpit. Pretty close to that you have the Church of the Saviour,
And this one is, again, pretty nice. I couldn't get inside this one because it was closed at the time, but it had an interesting monument and a sanctuary outside. But yeah, as in Poland, mostly churches. So we go to the Porcelain Museum, which is located in the classicist Alberti Palace, built in 1801 to 1803, which was named after the merchant Alberti, who later owned it. The exhibition consists of over 10,000 fragile exhibits, including one of the largest collections of historical Silesian porcelain. The museum also houses a collection of Polish ceramics, European porcelain, as well as paintings and furniture showing what a former bourgeois residence looked like. So porcelain was nicknamed white gold in Wałbrzych, and there are actually still a number of factories running. So you have the Schonch factory, the Wałbrzych SA factory, and I think the more famous Krzysztof factory. And yeah, the porcelain industry really came into its own in the kind of 19th and 20th centuries. And yeah, it kind of took over from, you could say, coal mining as one of the leading manufacturing points in the city. So Wałbrzych is actually one of the greenest cities in Poland, I think ranking somewhere like number 8 or something like that. You wouldn't really know it by this video because a lot of the greenery is actually located in the kind of mountains surrounding it, which after doing the research after the fact, I realized I probably missed quite a few interesting sites. This is a monument to the, I believe, the workers who were working in the mines. I think there's a bit more significance to that. Unfortunately, I can't remember exactly what was said, but it was a pretty impressive monument. But the reason we're heading this way, we're going up to one of the small mountains, because there is it's like, so Wałbrzych has this place, Harcówka, which I think is the only like mountain shelter built within a city in Poland. So you can stay here. I mainly just went there for the view, to grab a beer, and of course to just sample the local area. There is also an observation tower here. Sadly, it was under renovation when I was there, so I couldn't go to the top, but I believe it is all up and running again now. So, passing a few interesting buildings on my way slightly outside of the city, we are going to go to the mining museum. So it's called Stare Kopalnia, and it was actually a former mine called Julia that was in operation for a good while, and it's a pretty impressively large site with quite a lot to see. So you have to take a tour. You cannot, say, freely roam inside the museum, but so you're given a tour by like a former miner. Unfortunately, it's all in Polish, but you do have an audio guide, so you can, let's say, listen to the most interesting parts. And according to local legend, hard coal deposits were found on the slope of Lissy Hill, and this led to the first mine dating to 1366. By 1805, there were 54 mines in operation. Though the industry went into decline from 1990, which was generally down to the restrictions on coal mining being put into place. And yeah, mining was quite a significant part of the history of this city and also its wealth, because Wałbrzych really kind of sprung into life as an industrial centre. And if you've watched my video on Schonch Castle, you'll understand how the kind of nobility who like ran the area also contributed a lot to the development of the mining industry. So you also have, as well as the mines and the museum, this small observation tower, which gives you a nice little horizon of the mountains surrounding Wałbrzych, and a nice look at the monument park. I think there's also like a contemporary art museum that I seem to have missed that when I was there. But it was a pretty cool few hours spent. So we're going back into the centre now, have a nice mural, and we're going to go to the area of the Czettritz Palace. So for most of its history, Wałbrzych was a private city, and the von Czettritz owned the city for 250 years. After the fire at the Nowy Dwór Castle, they decided to move their seats to the city centre and took up residence in a Renaissance palace. And this palace was built in 1606 to 1628. You will also see in the grounds of this palace, so this, I believe, is a former residence of the infamous Princess Daisy. And there is another palace there, which belonged to the Habsburg estate, I believe. So, yeah, just showing a few more random sites as we head again out of the city, and I found another cool little city park on my way. And this had one of those like relaxing water walls there, as well as some pretty cool monuments. And yeah, this was quite tucked away and a little bit of an uphill climb, but nothing too crazy. It was fun. I always like these kind of random hidden places. But you can see we're kind of going uphill, so we're going through this kind of city garden. And we're going up to one of the local mountains and heading to the Totenburg Mausoleum. So this is actually a German construction that was built, I think, during the Nazi era, and it was a commemoration of the soldiers who lost their lives during World War One. And it has at least one or two levels underground as well, and it's quite an impressive place, though it is kind of falling a bit into ruin, and there are talks of kind of restoring it a bit and making it a bit more for recreation. And here's a nice little view of the city as well from the mountain. I really recommend this restaurant, Passage. It was by far the best place I went to eat when I was there. Prices were reasonable. I had an amazing cocktail. Quality of the food was spectacular. And the lady who was working there was very, very friendly. And yeah, it just had a really cool atmosphere. So here I have my jurek in a bread bowl, which I always find lovely. And there was this interesting like chicken wrapped in paper and sort of steamed with these vegetables, which was very, very delicious. Yum. And oh god, this cocktail was amazing. I think the cocktails only started tasting nicer and nicer, which is probably a problem. Here I am in the Szczawno-Zdrój. I'll put it on the screen. I'm never sure with these pronunciations 100%. But this is actually, I would say, my favorite district in Wałbrzych. It's got a lot of culture, some lovely parks, some nice buildings, all of the usual stuff you'd expect. But it's very popular, very busy, has a lot of life to it. So my big regret is I didn't have my hotel here. It's a little bit pricier than perhaps staying where I am staying. But I'm really glad that I took the time to come and visit this area. Absolutely lovely place. So this area I get confused because it feels like it should be part of Wałbrzych geographically, but I believe it is actually a separate town in its own right with a population of about 5,000. The park you're seeing here is lovely and is connected to the spa nature of this place. So these are kind of spa buildings that you see here, including this mineral water place, which was pretty cool. Apparently you have a number of different mineral waters available naturally in this area, and you can sample them. You pay something like 5 zloty for a cup, and then you can just go around and sit in this beautiful building drinking your mineral water and thinking about getting healthy. It's a bit like a farmhouse really, but yeah, focused on the water. And one thing I really loved about this area was just how kind of beautiful everything was. You have these, like, you know, the fountain, you have this lovely waterfall cascade, and even like the streets had a certain kind of sweetness to them. You know, the architecture is quite spread out and pretty nice looking. This is a famous musician or composer, sorry I forget the name exactly, but quite relevant. The park we saw is actually named after him. And you see a lot of kind of like hotels and official buildings and park space. This is the second park, Park Szwedzki. And again, it's just a nice little place to walk around. There is like an amphitheatre, I think, hidden there, though I couldn't find it. But one thing you can say with this park is it's nicely laid out. There are a few nice little monuments. I quite like this kind of person missing a heart. This random stone tower, which I'm sure had some historical significance. What I presume are little houses for bees and such. And there was even a nice little kind of lookout view from the top of the hill. But yeah, I spent a few hours here. I probably could have used a little bit longer. So I'm heading up into the hills in the centre, and there was this kind of old tower, which I guess was some kind of watchtower or something like that, which gave me a nice little view of the centre. But what we're doing is we're heading up into the mountain, or hill, whatever you classify it as. And I was surprised to find this kind of mini pond or small lake, which was pretty cool. But actually the main reason I came up here, other than the sheer exploration, was to come to this viewing tower. And this is actually solar powered. I noted that like the gate at the bottom will lock if too many people are there, so you have to sometimes wait for people to get off. And it's a pretty smooth ride to the top. Well, smooth walk, shall I say. And then you get these impressive views of the whole surrounding area. And I think they actually extended the tower to make sure that it kind of went above tree level. So it was a nice place to kind of finish my exploration and really just take it all in. And so I'm just going to leave you with a few more, let's say, things that I spotted while I was walking around, including this kind of water tower. And yeah, I was asked by many people why I came to this area, and I hope this video has answered that. On retrospect, I think I missed a couple of things like the Nowy Dwór Castle, which is more of just a ruin. And also I didn't really go up to the mountains as much as I could have. But I'd like to think I did justice to the city. Tell me what you think, and tell me if there's anything you think I missed that maybe I should go back for. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Do zobaczenia.